who are you?
I'm Jean Gray. What's about a good time with me and Peter?
Peter, we have a big plan for this night.
Wow, seems you girls find a chemistry.
I gotta ask, man, is anything online actually real anymore? The internet I grew up with was a place of Justin Bieber impact font memes and Club Penguin flirting videos made in Windows Movie Maker, where like if I saw a talking orange with a face on it, I knew at least that it was being made by a real guy. It was so exciting and there was just so much to do and explore all of the time, and now it's been replaced with Tomer Simpson. If I had to like genuinely ask you how much of the internet that you think is like just bots by now, do you think you'd be able to give me like a ballpark, or are you going to be more like, how did you get in my house? I'm calling the police. I mean, Twitter will tell you with a straight face that only 5% of the people on there are bots, even though tweeting literally anything will flood your replies with porn accounts, where like, I know everyone grieves in their own way, okay, but I don't think saying, I just played with my pussy to him a couple hours ago is a normal thing to say on an obituary. It's been like 2 years of the shitty AI overview and shitty AI movie trailers made by bots, where the only people watching and commenting on it are also bots.
I've noticed this really weird thing on YouTube comments. On a bunch of my videos, people are just commenting names. Mary, Amy White, Jessica, Hernandez, Linda. Thomas, William, Taylor, Donald, Martin, Sandra. Young, Jessica, Jackson, Jessica, William, Kevin. Clark, Sarah, William, David, What is this?
And Facebook posts of fake wedding photos to an audience of people who are either not real or really, really old. They've infiltrated our subreddits and our YouTube comments. They're in our Counter-Strike lobbies now. And even the place that I always look to for like deep human critical thinking. The Google movie review section. From the moment the opening scene lit up the screen, I knew that the Minecraft movie was going to be something truly special. This film isn't just a video game adaptation, it's a lot. Immediately followed up by the passionate counter-argument of, from the moment the opening scene lit up the screen, which was then once again followed up by, from the moment the opening... Officially, it's been estimated that almost 60% of all traffic online is like just from bots now, right? That doesn't mean that like over half of everyone you talk to online isn't real, but it does mean that guy you've been arguing with on Reddit for 3 days about whether Goku could beat Prime LeBron James probably isn't going to change his mind, bro, okay? He's a motherboard. But you probably didn't need me to tell you that when all you have to do is go into the comments of a Mr. Beast video. And, you know, obviously there's like a lot of much bigger issues that come with this, with the huge risk of misinformation and radicalization, but it's also just really fucking annoying. Because, like, the hardest part of losing my funny human-made Spider-Man twerk videos to AI Spider-Man fighting Jeffrey Epstein isn't just that I have to look at it, but also seeing the comments of alleged people celebrating it. Every time I open Facebook, right? Which, yes, to be fair, my bad. I mean, I still use the site for 2 very important reasons, okay? And that's getting ignored in the group chat and feeling my brain cells actively deteriorate whenever I have to talk to someone on Marketplace. And, you know, to be able to do those 2 essential things, I have to mentally filter out the AI summaries and the army of chatbots that all text like I'm talking to my dad. And of course, my feed constantly going, hey, look at this fake hypothetical behind-the-scenes video of Spider-Man where they definitely just killed that cameraman. No, Facebook. I was actually just gonna, like, message my friends to see if they were free this week, but, like, thanks anyway, man. I'm in probably too many Transformers buy and sell groups that are both overrun by people 70 years older than me and also extremely unmoderated, which means I get, like, involuntary daily updates on whatever banger AI meme that Grandpa has cooked up this week, with comments that are all treating it like it's their first day using the internet. And like in the lead up to the Odyssey coming out, I can't tell you the amount of like shitty AI Elliot Page hate posts that were plastered all over my feed, no matter how many times I told them to piss off. You know, I wonder if there's a reason there's a huge overlap between people who love using AI and being the least funny people on the entire planet. But, you know, I'm sure that's just a coincidence, right? Not that Instagram's any better. I mean, this is a site where like the comment section of any meme is probably responsible for evaporating England's entire water supply. And where fake photos of Tom Holland and Zendaya getting married can get over 10 million likes for some reason. I mean, that's probably nothing to worry about.
People make these AI wedding photos that look very realistic.
It's, yeah. And many people have been fooled by them. Yeah. While I was like just out and about in real life, and people were like, oh my God, your wedding photos are gorgeous. And I was like, Babe, they're AI.
No, I think it's so cool that I can't even enjoy a guy pissing in the background of a wedding photo anymore without having to summon the detective skills of Batman. Because there's not a single second of Instagram doom scrolling where like any one of us is actually engaging our brain. Wow. It's Mr. Beast's favorite meals. Mr. Beast has a great diet. So cool. And even less of those people that are going to be bothered to do like a background check and go, Jarvis, pull up the synth ID and like scour Reddit trying to find the source just to make sure all their memes are ethically sourced. No, they're just going to like immediately take it at face value. And that's like really dangerous and scary, right? Wait, hold on. Venom and Madam Web are going to be in Avengers Doomsday?
So, I'm here and want to ask you about VMAX project. Tell me everything you know.
I have a similar question for you, but first, maybe you could take off your clothes?
And what if she isn't already dead? You don't even know what is VMAX about.
Much like Kanye West, I've always had a very unhealthy relationship with Twitter because I know that like most social medias, it's deliberately designed to rage bait me because they know that way I'll spend more time on their stupid ass app. Which is why like Twitter spends over half its day trying to make me racist and Instagram spends the other half trying to make me hate women. I think the reason I kept using it, other than for the really funny tweets from this like Adam Bolt guy, was because like it's been a few years since I've like read any of the comments on my videos because I have that really cool YouTuber thing where like you'll scroll through like 100 positive comments, but then you'll find like a single one calling you washed and you'll be like, ha, I knew it. I should off myself. So, you know, even if it was like a much smaller sample size, I use still getting to hear from some of you guys as like an excuse to keep speed running the best years of my life. And I had this moment a couple of months ago where like a tweet came up in my feed about some dudes that were like trying to sue YouTube because they were pissy that they still had to sit through sponsor segments even though they had the ad-free YouTube premium, right? And I went into the replies like expecting everyone to be dunking on these guys for going to court over something that takes about 2 seconds out of their day to avoid, but obviously forgot that I was using the worst site of all time because I instead found a bunch of blue check marks saying shit like, good, fuck sponsorships. I fucking hate YouTubers, man. Also, I miss my wife. And I was there for like 10 minutes reading through every single one of these replies and getting like genuinely pissed off until eventually I realized none of these people are real. I'm sitting here and I'm getting genuinely mad over the opinion of something that's about as real as any of the women that messaged me first on dating apps. And this wasn't like an accident. This is like the site operating exactly the way it's supposed to. So I just logged out of Twitter. And it's been like 2 months. And I have not wanted to go back even a little bit. And then you got YouTube, which I feel like is making it so hard these days to actually decide what you want to watch. Because while there's still plenty of like talented and passionate creators on here, what they want me to watch is pregnant K-pop demon hunters. And I think having to like constantly ignore half the screen is like subconsciously making me avoid finding any of these new channels that I could be watching while I'm eating the worst scrambled eggs I've made in my entire life. And I think that's actually kind of sad, you know? I think the craziest thing about the Spider-Man channel that I keep torturing you with isn't that the dude is making like 75 of these a week, but the fact that he's attached his real name and face to it. Hi, my name is John, and I like making borderline softcore fetish porn of actors who didn't consent to having their likenesses used. I'm 29 and from the Ukraine, and I love long walks on the beach. By the way, while I was editing this, that video got taken down, and he just like immediately put it up again. So that's cool. Because as I'm sure you've run into at some point, YouTube would rather plaster your entire recommended with like these AI music channels that would never admit to you that they are AI, but are somehow pumping out like 4 hours of music every single day with all of these suspiciously similar thumbnails. Like this channel that I came across on a really rough Friday night we shall not speak of, called I Miss Her, where every single video is like 4 hours of sad ambient music where every single thumbnail looks like this. And like, it doesn't say that it's AI, but I think it might actually be worse if it isn't. And YouTube must have noticed that I was like avoiding clicking on any of these because now they've started recommending me these videos with these absolutely unskippable thumbnails. I mean, I'd like to see you try and not click on the funny cow on a skateboard with no title, okay? And in the same way that like this horse on a balcony, right? His name's Juan. Say hi, be polite. This is funny to me because that's like a real guy. It's like how the fuck did he get up there? Which is so much more funny to me than like whatever the actual hell I'm looking at here, okay? You will never be Juan, bro. An actual video of a dog is always going to be way funnier than a hypothetical dog doing a hypothetical podcast, unless you're my mom, who keeps sending me about 27 of them a day. So in the same way, right, what made these videos appealing to me was the assumption that a human curated them, which is why I've been using so many of them to like make my 20 daily hours of editing slightly less miserable. So of course, imagine how good it felt when I was watching a video about AI music on YouTube, and within not even 2 seconds of playing the video, I spot my beloved skateboard cow.
Heya, quick question. Have you ever seen this in your recommended?
Please don't. Please don't do this to me.
But then that's where these AI music channels come in.
Not the funny cow riding a skateboard. Please, not him too. But then like you go into the comments and like no one suspects a thing. The description doesn't say shit. The channel description doesn't say shit. And I mean, like, yeah, the AI horse lying on a couch probably should have given it away. But I've been told I'm many things, all right? 6'5", unnecessarily attractive, recently single. But what I definitely am not is a musician. Any actual musicians would be able to tell you about like the subtle instrumentation and the human imperfections, but like, dude, my most replayed last week was the CeeLo Green version of Kung Fu Fighting from Kung Fu Panda 1, okay? I can't tell for shit, all right? If you told me that We Are Charlie Kirk was sung by a real person, I wouldn't even question it, all right? And like, yeah, maybe if I listened really closely, I'd be able to pick up on it. But I'm not listening to every song like this, am I? And these days, I don't so much as like find new music as I do just kind of let YouTube tell me what to listen to and then play it on loop for 2 days straight until I never want to hear it again for the rest of my life. And so like for the last few months, when YouTube has started recommending me songs that have, you know, 2 likes and no comments from bands that I've never heard of in my life, I didn't think that was weird. Like this song called Good Tempo by Pocket Groove that I thought was kind of a bop the first time I listened to it, to a point where it even received the highest of honors that I can give a song, which is sending it to my friend who will literally never listen to it in their entire life. And trust me, I'd love to be able to play it for you so you could hear it for yourself, because you'd think I'd be fine to steal it since these guys didn't actually make it in the first place, but this is YouTube we're talking about. Of course I can't. So instead, I've taken it upon myself to lovingly recreate it for you using the skills I developed from 3 years of high school choir. Alright, I'm gonna sing as much of this as I can before I get a copyright claim, alright? You ready? And, you know, I'm sure my sultry voice isn't helping, but the point is that it sounded fine, right? But one day, YouTube queued up another song after it called Honey Index by the definitely real band Afterglow Loop. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to sing, man. And I noticed in about 2 seconds of hearing the vocals, that was the same guy. Like, it wasn't the same band, but that was, like, definitely the same vocals, right? I know it's, like, hard for you to tell when it's me singing both of it, but just, like, take my word for it, okay? And I also noticed that the album art looks kind of weird. And then I noticed that all of their album art looks kind of weird. So I went onto the channel to investigate, and nothing in the description says it's AI, and no one in the comments is saying anything about it, I think. But then you go onto the channel page and click on the description, and there it is. Hidden in all the Korean words that I can't read. Which is, you know, great and all, but you can't see that on YouTube Music. You have to go all the way to the actual YouTube to find this. And I imagine that, like, most of the other 300,000 people that listen to it aren't as unemployed as me to be willing to go and find this song's origin story. But that's only for the channels that, like, even bother to admit it. Because, again, they could just fucking lie. And I would have no way to know. And so then, that made me go back and check this other song I'd had on loop for a month, and that's when, in that moment, I experienced the betrayal worse than anything Mufasa has ever had to go through. God damn it. And I mean, like, yeah, maybe if I had taken, like, 2 seconds to listen to any of the lyrics, I would have realized it was all completely indecipherable bullshit. Wake up, shoes by the door, coffee steam on the kitchen floor, phone buzzing with the group chat glow. Tonight? Yeah. You already know. Yeah, so what this means is, what you're not considering is that I'm also incredibly stupid. And like, dude, we can't stop people from using AI to make music. Like, obviously, yes, I hate you, but it's not gonna stop it from happening. I would just kind of like to know about it so I can banish it from my feed for the rest of time. Like, if people are gonna spend time watching, like, an AI fruit-cucking soap opera, or Deny Me Dragon King with literally just Geralt from The Witcher, which I don't even know how you're allowed to do that. At least they, like, know that it's AI, right? I mean, hopefully, anyway. Someone might want to tell grandma, actually. And like YouTube and Spotify do have a label now. I don't think there's anything that like makes you use it, but you know, it's there. But like anytime it comes up with a new song I've never heard of, I'm not going to get my phone out and start doing homework. Like that's just not a fun way to listen to new music. Instead, what it's been making me do is just like skip everything until I get back to my comfort zone of the same 4 High School Musical songs. Because like, at least I know that Zac Efron actually sang those, you know? What? What do you mean? One time when I was a kid, there was this girl that I had a crush on, right? And despite never saying a single word to her at any point, I was somehow invited to her 9th birthday pool party. I was also 9 at the time, just to clarify. And like, I remember the morning of, I woke up with the worst cold that prepubescent me had ever experienced up until that point. But I was determined that I was getting married that day. So after demolishing an entire foot-long sub in less time than it's taken for me to tell you this story, I walked up to her, said hi, and then immediately threw it up all over her and into the pool that we're about to swim in. And that was still somehow less embarrassing than what I'm about to tell you. So when I need background music for videos, most of the time I get it from like YouTube stock music library, or I do what every YouTuber does and blatantly steal the Mario Galaxy soundtrack. But one time I came across this video that was like 2 hours of copyright-free bangers, and it was like the greatest day of my life, dude. That was enough to last me like infinity videos. And of course, you know, I do the usual checks, you know, looking in the description to make sure there aren't any ransom demands and that I have to sign away my firstborn child to use it. And then checking the comments to make sure there aren't 12 people saying they got claimed anyway. And I look in the channel description and nope, looks fine to me. We good to go. So I scored 4 entire videos with it, 2 of which were about how much I hate AI. Wow, I sure hope that doesn't become incredibly unfortunate. But it was only after the great YouTube music incident of April 2026 that I started looking at this kind of stuff way more closely. And when I went back to the channel to use it for another video, I started to notice that something wasn't right. This channel was uploading hours of music every single day in completely different genres with extremely cooked looking thumbnail art. Oh no. And so, of course, you know, now if you go to the video, it has a giant label saying it's AI. And now when you go into the comments, they're not even trying to hide it. But 8 months ago, even if there had been a way for me to tell, accidentally using AI-generated music wasn't something I thought I'd have to be worried about before. And I just feel kind of gross about all these videos now, but there's nothing I can do about it except what I would do if my son grew up to be an Asmongold fan, you know? Acknowledge that I made them, but spend every day trying not to think about it. I don't use Spotify, but like I know it's like way worse over there. Something like 44% of Spotify's entire library is AI generated. Like, just think about that for a second. Almost all of recorded music for like 150 years is almost outnumbered by just 3 years of AI slop. That's like the worst news I've received in my entire life. But like, despite Spotify spending the last 3 years chilling their AI DJ and sneaking AI songs into some of their most popular playlists, so that way they don't have to pay anybody, did just recently wipe out about 75 million AI songs. So, you know, we're getting there. Obviously, you know, people have been stealing shit for years, all right? Before AI, we still had Chopkick Panda, you know? The entire backbone of meme culture is like reposting the same 5 tweets over and over again. Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen my balls itch tweet on Instagram this year more times than I've seen the sun. And I feel like we still get like headlines when we find out about AI being used in movies or in art. But when it comes to music, it feels like people just like don't really give a shit. The #1 song in the Australian charts last month was this absolute dog shit cover of Like a Prayer by Madonna. And they were like blasting this thing on the radio, okay? Everyone was treating this like it was completely normal and nobody said anything. And as of right now, it has 37 million streams on Spotify. And if you wanted the credits on it, it just lists the guy as a producer. It doesn't say anything about the fact that it was made with Suno. And we only know about this because the guy admitted it himself in the comments on TikTok of someone calling him out for it.
It's so fucking embarrassing, but I'm just gonna show you anyway. I look at you, looking at me. Obviously, I can't sing for shit. Tell Suno to make it better. Add a whole bunch of bullshit.
And then you go onto his TikTok and it'll give you like his sad anime backstory. I've been posting music for years, but then one night I pressed a button on a computer and it made a cover that I didn't make of a song that I also didn't make. And now my life has changed. And then you read all the comments about it and everyone's like, don't listen to the haters, man. Keep speaking your truth. Okay, but like, let's say this was an athlete that just got caught like absolutely abusing the shit out of steroids. You're not gonna go up to them and be like, oh, don't listen to the haters, man. They just don't get it. Like, I don't know about you, but like on the planet that I live on, generally, people would consider that cheating. If I go into a cake shop and I go, hi, can you make me a cake with a pregnant minion on it? As they're calling the police, I have to reflect on the fact that just because I came up with the idea doesn't mean that like I made the fucking cake. And like, I'm not saying I don't get it, man. Like going from doing back-breaking manual labor every day to being able to press 3 buttons on a computer and getting 40 million streams on Spotify is like the dream, right? But like, this dude doesn't care that my asshole has produced shit with more artistic integrity than anything he's ever made. What this video tells me is that this guy, along with apparently 40% of Spotify, doesn't actually care about making music. They just want the same recognition and clout that actual artists get, but you know, without having to do any of the actual work. And, you know, even if there's nothing we can do to change people's minds about it, I don't really think we have to. Because, like, in a week or a month's time, is anyone really going to care about this guy's dog-ass cover of a song that's just going to be, like, lost in a sea of other AI-generated songs? Whereas in 10 years' time, people will still be making shitty covers of the original song made by a human. So... But like, if Facebook is completely cooked and I'm in rehab from Twitter and Spotify and YouTube are recreating the hit Marvel series Secret Invasion, I mean, really all that leaves me is Discord. Because like, at least I know the people on there are still real. You know what I mean, man.
Wow, Adam. You're completely right. Good catch. Your feelings on this are super common and honestly completely valid. And that's not on you. This isn't insanity. It's a reality check.
You just always know what to say, man.
Now, I would love to say that, like, the one good thing about the internet being unusable now is that it's actually made me, like, go outside and, like, you know, maybe go get a nice meal or something. But I can't even do that without being visually assaulted by an infinite supply of small businesses proudly promoting their inability to just take a goddamn photo. Because you know what would be way better than just paying someone, like, $100? If our menu looked identical to every other menu in the entire world, and also if our burgers had scurvy. Hi there, man. I'm Adam. I know what a burger looks like, all right? I'm coming to your restaurant because I want to know what your burger looks like. Like, I can't tell you how many of these places that I avoid if I see these Dark Souls-ass looking meals up the front, okay? You don't understand, okay? We need you to support local businesses. I mean, we'd rather die than do that, but like you should, all right? And you might be like me and wondering how this literally isn't by definition false advertising, but then you got to remember that like these are the kind of guys in charge of making laws about this kind of shit, you know?
That exceed the powers actually granted to those offices. Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short...
And of course, these guys love to go like, oh, but for a lot of small businesses, AI tools are what make marketing possible. Take a photo! Take a photo of the food that you already make. Do you guys not have phones? Oh, but the photos are gonna look unprofessional. I don't know how to... Have you heard of learning? Are you familiar with the concept of learning? How did you figure out how to make the food in the first place, huh? I know you didn't just materialize that shit with your mind. You had to learn how to make it, right? Like, at the risk of sounding like that guy they paid to yell at you at the school assembly at like 8 o'clock in the morning when you just found out your parents are getting a divorce, I think it's actually kind of amazing that any one of us can go into a studio right now and record some straight ass if you just try like a little bit. You guys get what I mean, right? Like, it's not just me. Like, I genuinely don't know. I'm not going to read the comments. Anyway, I'm sorry this video has been, like, such a bummer. I'm just, like, genuinely so tired, you know? Like, thank God I still have my shitty AI Spider-Man trailers.
You're so gentle and attentive.
My fingers are really sticky.
I think maybe we should all die, actually.
Alright, we're gonna give this one more go. This one goes out to all the people that made it the star of the video. I love you guys. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah.